Good evening to you all. I'm extremely honored to stand before you today, our teachers, parents, and classmates, to give the last speech before we say goodbye to this home away from home that has been St. Andrews. So last year's head boy mentioned that he Googled how to write an awesome graduation speech, and that turned out okay. So I thought to myself, why not? I'll do the same thing. So I Googled it myself. But in the process, Google also told me that global warming was a hoax created by the Chinese to make US manufacturing non-competitive. So I thought that maybe Google wasn't right for me this year. Therefore, I'm going to start by thanking all the wonderful teachers we've had throughout these years. And I know Valentina has already done so, but I sincerely think that we can't thank you enough. Now I know and I accept that our classes have not always been smooth sailing, and that many of us can be a pain sometimes. Nevertheless, I think that speaking on behalf of everyone here, I want to express a deep sense of gratitude. You are the real heroes of this movie. You've taught us all that we know and guided us through this amazing journey. We are in your debt. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause. I'd now like to address our parents and families. You've made us feel embraced time and time again. Now, for this speech, I tried to come up with one story to demonstrate what I mean, but it ended up being much harder than what I originally expected. I realized that whether I'd seen it or not before, our parents have always been there for us, at every turn. You've consistently pushed us into becoming better versions of ourselves. Throughout these years, you've only wanted to see us shine. You are the backbones of this school and of our lives, and for that we thank you. We will make you proud one day, and that is a promise. Please give them a round of applause. Most importantly, I want to talk about my tremendous year group. Today we're officially closing one chapter of our lives and starting another one. Now, looking at what the world is like, I can frankly say that I was a bit scared about finishing school. I bet we can all agree that 2016 was all but ideal. There's been many terrorist attacks, rising xenophobia and racism, Donald Trump, and Brexit. The Argentine economy hasn't been the best, and we lost the Copa America finally. To Chile. Again. Sadly. Yet, there is one thing that I've learned in my time at St. Andrews that I think will help us all for any future plans. And that is that hope is being able to see the light despite all the darkness around us. Our year group hasn't always been categorized as a good one per se. Many of us have actually called us demeaning names, and that I think is something terrible. We fought over where to go for our graduation trip, where to have our graduation party, what the theme of that party should be. We had a horrible time with our RGCSEs, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. At times, our Facebook group looked like a battlefield. Aggressive comments, insults, and sassy remarks were flying everywhere. Nevertheless, we're standing before you today, sitting before you today, as one whole group of friends. So clearly something happened. Martin Luther King once said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose sight of infinite hope." And that we never did. We stuck together, chose our priorities, found a way to keep a healthy respect, and powered through. We never budged. Hidden within our class is so much talent. The best athletes in the country, monumental academics that have won numerous national and international awards, artists that inspire us with their music, and all around the best people we could ever wish for. We chose to let our hope, not our hurt, shape our path. Now, it did take a lot of creativity, passion, and determination, but we accomplished everything we set our hearts on. Some of you who know me are aware that back when I was around 7 or 8, I would race small sailing boats. Together with my brother, I would spend countless weekends down by the river, training and competing. The first time I actually went sailing was with my uncle in Uruguay. We left port one day with the mainsail fully open, nice tailwinds. Although you could hardly feel the wind, the boat was sailing really fast. It was fun, but there was not much we could do. The wind was doing practically all the work. Yet we had our eyes set on a small beach a little distance away. But suddenly the wind stopped, and so did the boat. I started to get a bit bored. Before I wasn't doing much, but at least we were moving. This was surely not what I expected. And to be honest, it felt like a bit of a waste of my time. We only had about 2 hours before we had to get back for lunch, and I was getting a bit disappointed. To make things worse, headwinds started to pick up coming our way. I had a feeling that we would never get to the beach and that we would be forced to go back to where the winds were pushing us. But then my uncle asked us if we were ready for a little work. Unaware what this meant, I cheerfully agreed. As you might have guessed, it is impossible to actually sail against the wind, but it is possible to sail at an angle of the direction of the wind. Now, it is a lot of work because to actually move where you want to go, you need to go from one side of the wind to the other side of the wind very, very slowly, making very small progress. And that is precisely what we did. That 8-year-old version of me was exhausted. Nevertheless, I was amazed that in all intents and purposes, I was actually moving against the wind. I was fascinated. I guess my point is that winds are coming our way, and they're definitely not at our backs. That being said, we wouldn't want these winds to stop, because that would mean stopping altogether, and that would be a waste of our lives. We have strong winds coming our way, but in order to go where we want to go, we must embrace the challenge and face it. But finding the proper angle, finding the proper perspective. I have no doubt that this class will reach its final destination, wherever that might be. I can tell you that this terrific group of 130 people will always choose to fight, because there is nothing we can't achieve, even when pessimism consumes us. So looking at what the world has to offer, all the terrible things that happened and probably will continue to happen, I say that we should not be afraid. We take with us an amazing set of skills and values that will help us overcome any challenges ahead. So here's to a life full of hope and clarity when times seem dark. And as for 2017, bring it on. We're ready. Thank you.